Do you have those late night Amazon urges to purchase some crap that you don't need? Yeah, me either. But the other night I was skimming through Amazon and I talked myself into buying a 3D printer. And that snowballed into me purchasing a lot of stuff and even another printer off of Facebook Marketplace. So in this video, I'm going to try my best to justify my purchase inside of my head. It might not make sense to y'all, but to me it makes it worth it. I have never 3D printed anything in my life up until this point. So all of this is a completely new learning curve to me. Everything that I'm going to show you is, I'm going to attempt to make tools with this. That was like the main thing. I was just sitting around thinking I could probably make the tools that I would like to purchase for my bead roller. I have dimple die sets, but I want to get into smaller dimple dies. There's a couple other things I found on Thingiverse that I just thought were cool, and they actually serve its purpose in my garage or my vehicles or whatever. So if you stick around, comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Watch me try and justify this purchase, because I'm still trying to get to that point. And this is the thing that got me on this, was if I could have found this and the printer before I purchased the chrome one, I wouldn't have bought the chrome one. I would have just made it, because it looks really cool in black or blue or almost see-through blue, whatever. Even a really large head that could potentially be a shift knob, and I started to drill out. There's so much stuff that you can do with these printers that I never realized, because I've never even looked into it up until 2 months ago, or not even 2 months, a month ago, whatever it was. So 3D resin printing is what I'm doing now. There's a learning curve for sure if you've never done this before. I'm not saying it's not worth it at all, because you can get a printer for 150 bucks. I bought one off of Marketplace for 60 bucks. I had to put a little bit of time into it, getting it cleaned up. I'll show some pictures of that later. But there is a learning curve. A lot of print failures. I have an entire small bucket full of print failures. But the resin's not that expensive. Like, you can print a whole lot of stuff for 20 bucks. It's really not that bad. Like I said, the main reason for purchasing this was sorry if I keep touching my nose, I've been sick for the last week. I really wanted to print tooling or car parts. Something car related, tooling related, something to help build cars, whatever. I found a couple of videos of guys printing bead roller dies, but they all used filament printers. This is a different style. If you're not into 3D printing, then you have to look into that part. It prints it out of a actual liquid rather than melting plastic together. I'm still learning. I'll say some stuff that's probably wrong, and all the 3D printing people that watch this probably yelling at the screen. So this is a Mittler Brothers bead roller die. This is made out of Delrin, whatever. I have, let me show you. I have a ton of them. Well, I mean, it's not a crazy collection, but generally speaking, this is about 100 bucks for a set of 2 steel dies. The Delrin ones are about 80 bucks for 2. And I have, again, quite a few of those. These are Delrin, those are steel. So I wanted to purchase a hemming set from Mittler Brothers, and that set's quite expensive. So that set consists of just these 2 things. I have to look up the price. I'll put it at the bottom of the screen. But again, justifying this in my head, I printed these for about $5. We're going to see if they hold up. That's the main thing. Will they actually hold up and do the job that they're supposed to do? So I printed off actually a 3-piece set. This is a completely free file that I found online, and everything that I found online I'll add in the description below to give those artists a credit, or designer, whatever they go by. These 3 pieces, maybe like $6 worth of material. I have these step dies in steel and Delron, whatever. Also, but again, I'm going to put these through a torture test and see how they do. Printed these both out. Again, this is a couple bucks worth of material, and if you got on the website, this is close to $100 last time I checked. It's amazing what these printers can do for, again, this is like a couple cents. This is completely hollow. It has an extreme amount of detail, but there's not that much material here. I could probably make, I don't know, 10 or 15 of these for 1 bottle of resin. There is a ridiculous amount of things that you can do with these printers. It amazes me, and I keep trying to push it, and I really want to get into designing these things. I don't have the computer set up to do that yet because I'm running everything off of an antique laptop because I have 0 tech stuff at my house. I don't even have internet. I do everything on my phone. So I would like to get into designing things. And one of the things that I've came up with that was pretty simple, and I did it off of Tinkercad because my computer can actually run that, surprisingly. Again, it's old. It's like you have to keep it plugged in for it to stay on because the battery's burnt up because it's been sitting in my closet for like 6 years. So back in the day, most of the dealerships around me, back in Woodbridge, Virginia, there's about, I don't know, 50 dealerships in like a 5-mile stretch of road. That's not even exaggerating. It was really bad back in the day. But every one of those dealerships always had those little black emblems on the back of their cars. I'm pretty sure they're all over the US and wherever. And each little tag said the name of the dealership and the county and state, whatever. And I always thought it would be cool to make my own version with my own logo on it. So I actually printed off and made a couple of these in Tinkercad. Hopefully the camera actually picks that up, but they're super thin, but actually very, very detailed. Went over a couple of them with a chrome marker, and they turned out pretty good. A couple different variations I made here. These ones are a little thick, but you get the idea. Found this file online, little Lowrider magazine logo. Takes about 30 minutes to print this out. Cost a couple cents. Again, the cost portion of this is the part that like really blows me away. Like what you can do for, I mean, not a lot of money if you compare it to what you would purchase from the store. So again, in Tinkercad, I wanted to come up with a kind of a cool keychain. So I came up with these little hydraulic pumps. It has Virginia's Flow Riders on the pump, and it's pretty detailed. It's got a little lug for your battery hookup, the bolts for the tank, and I went through, printed off a bunch of random sizes just to test the, I don't know, quality or what you want to say. I printed this little guy. It even has Virginia's Flow Riders on it if you had a magnifying glass, and the little lug for the battery cable. It's amazing. Went through, printed off, again, free files from Tinkercad. Just stuff that I thought was cool. I feel like anybody that buys a 3D printer is gonna do the same thing, and their first I don't know, 20 prints are probably going to be some random stuff that they found online also. A lot of people just go buy the free files and that's it. They just print whatever they can find for free. Shift knobs, again, just to see how it would turn out. This one's itty bitty, but you get the idea. And like I mentioned in the beginning, there are free files for dimple dies. And they look really good. I just went through and changed the scale on them and kept narrowing it down and narrowing it down. And again, I'm going to put these through a torture test and see if they actually hold up to, I don't know if they'll hold up to dimpling steel, but if they can dimple aluminum, that'd be great. Because, I mean, again, this is like 15 cents with the material. And if I can get a couple, like a side job done for 15 cents, I mean, that's well worth my time to print this out for a half an hour. This was my sad attempt of trying to design a bead roller die on Tinkercad. Again, I have very, very little tech skills. I'll get there. This was a print failure of a die. I have had this Stihl chainsaw case, as you can see just by the amount of dust on it, it is thick. I've had that case for probably 8-9 years and have never used it because I didn't have the handle with it. I got the case for free from work because when they shipped it to us, the handle was broken and we couldn't sell it that way. So it just sat around and I took it home because I'm a hoarder. But again, a free file from Thingiverse that all I had to do was plug it in to the printer and I have a handle for it now, and I can use something that I've been holding on to for way too long. So say you're working in the yard and you happen to drop your chainsaw 60 feet down onto the ground and break the casing like I did, and break the pull cord handle like I did. Replace the pull cord handle, didn't replace that. Say you're in a bind and you still need to get your job done and you don't have your backup saw and you need a handle. Well, in about 30 minutes time, you can print out a handle easily. And if you want to be funny with your friends, you can add stuff to them. And again, I just did this in Tinkercad. Very, very simple. Just like copying and pasting stuff. The handle design I got from Thingiverse, and again, I'll add that in the bottom. But I think that this is going to go on my buddy James's saw. I think that's fitting for him. Maybe this one. I don't know. We'll see. This is a wobbly piece of sheet metal, but just for testing purposes. I didn't cut that perfectly flat, but again, just to see what it can do. So now I will swap out the lower die. I don't have two wide flat ones, so I'm gonna just try and balance it on the edge of this one here. Well, I didn't have the ability to make a good looking hemmed edge, and I do now, so not bad. I mean, of course it's kind of beat up because I'm just rushing through this, but you get the idea. And again, this die looks perfectly fine with that one pass. There's some scratches. This stuff scratches really easy. Like, you can easily scratch it with a fingernail, but most of it just rubs back off. This has not been fully cured. I need to let it sit in the sun. I don't have a curing station yet, but it's not bad. So far, count this as a win. Alright, move on to testing out the step dies. Those prints weren't quite as clean. Whenever they went through the printer, I didn't get the supports just right, but see how it turns out, even with the messed up support. It looks 100% fine. Looks just as good as the dies that I purchased. At a tiny fraction of the price. I count that one as a win too. Next, we will test and see how they hold up to dimple dies. Alright. Oh, I split it. I can see it already. But it did work. There's a tiny little crack. So, I'm thinking it would probably work perfectly fine on aluminum if I just go back in and make the file thicker. Give it more of a chance to actually work. It wasn't meant to be this small. The print size was actually the largest one. All I did was shrink it down in scale. So, but it does work. It's kind of oblong because I didn't have it centered, but it does work. I'll have to pop a hole and try one of the big ones out. Well, I got the hole way off, but it does work, and it didn't break the medium-sized one. So, again, I'm going to count this as a win, and if I took my time, I could actually get it centered, but you get the idea. So, hemming die, bead roller dies, and these work. So, let's check out the other stuff. So, I think I've justified it. I think that overall, it was worth the purchase. The things that I'm going to make and the things that I have made, I think it'll add up to being worth it for sure. I figure just in the bead roller die capabilities alone, it'll pay for itself just with that, because I've made 5 dies so far, and that's over half the price of the machine. So yeah. Comment down below. Let me know what you think I should make next. I did get a new filament printer in today, so I'll be making another video trying to justify that purchase. So comment down below, like, subscribe, let me know what you think, good or bad, whatever. I'll see you on the next one.